Hey everybody, it's Vicky and Trevor from the RPG Alliance, and we are here to talk about this year's con and really to give you a quick little video on our new charity drive and our program to encourage game runners to run in-game charity incentives to help the charities that we've chosen this year. Right, Trevor?
Yeah, it seemed to work well at the fundraiser for role players for Ukraine. So we thought we'd try that to bring the spirit of that to RPGA-CON and expand it a little.
Exactly. That was actually a hell of a lot of fun. The role players for Ukraine was just a blast, and people were just really getting into the idea of doing something good but having fun in our game with it.
Yep, exactly.
So as you can see on your screen, we've got our this year tabletop events website for this year's con. Where we'll be you can buy your badges and submit your games, and we have another video on how to submit games. So please check our YouTube channel on that. But this year, if you go under the attend tab and you click on the drop down menu, you can see that we have a charity drive page. And when you click on that, that will bring you to our charity page. And here on our charity drive page, we have just, kind of the reasons why we're doing it and why we picked the charities we have. And we also kind of have this template that Trevor came up with during the Role Players for Ukraine. Just a sample that you can use or not use. It's up to you as a game runner for, a system of how to incentivize and put a monetary value for different things a person can do in the game. Um, and I know,
Yeah, and exactly.
yeah, go ahead, Trevor.
Exactly. It's just it's a sample. So you're free to come up with anything you want. You're free to change the numbers if you want to make them bigger, smaller, whatever. We had players at Role Player for Ukraine who did all kinds of things. Some were saying that they would uh, donate so much per judges or game runners. Were saying that they would donate so much per character they killed, for example.
Nice.
Um, and it's just anything that comes to the imagination. So this is just a sample.
Exactly. And because we're not not a nonprofit ourselves, we have to do everything through um, an organization called Canada Helps, and that allows us to set up a fundraising drive page, and I'll just show that to the folks at home right now. Um, where you can make a donation to the charities we've chosen, and then it also is pretty cool that it will show your donation if you click the option to show your name and donation. And one of the reasons we've done this is so that game runners, everyone has a central place to go and do donations. It's secure. It's the all the charities have been vetted properly, and it shows a supporter wall here. You can see that I made a $10 donation, and that way the game runners can see who's donating what, right? Although, again, I think most of us just ran on the honor system during Role Players of Ukraine, and it worked out fine.
Yeah, we had people. I was in games where people were just committing to, I'll donate this much, and it, went on through the game. So it was up to them to keep track of it. And then at the end of the game, they would go and make their donation, or sometimes just because people get busy, they made it the next day, kind of thing. And it's it's all in the honor system. We're used to trusting people with their dice rolls, so we could trust them with something like donations. But
Exactly.
whatever works for your particular game is fine with us.
100%. So we'll just quickly talk about the charities, and then we'll get into an in-game example in Roll 20. Um, so our in-game charities this year, we've selected an indigenous charity called Miss Kanawa. I think Trevor, you might have a better way of pronouncing that.
Uh, Not sure. So, we're just going based on what we find on the web. It could be Miss Kanawa, Miss Kanawa. We're not sure how to pronounce it, so we'll have to find that out.
Exactly, exactly. But this again is a local organization to Calgary, where is which is where the RPG Alliance is based in Calgary, Canada. And so they work a lot with helping children that are in the child welfare system, um, and their families to work with children and family services to keep children and youth safe and in culturally responsive environments. So we really want to include an Indigenous charity that was local. Um, we feel very strongly about that. Every year we honor the Indigenous people um, of Treaty 7 and the Métis community that our convention in person is held on. So it was really important to bring an Indigenous charity to this charity drive just to support them as best we can.
Yep,
The next one is the
100%.
Center for Sexuality. And again, we're all about inclusion and inclusive gaming. And the RPG Alliance came from the LGBTQ2S plus Allies D&D meetup group. So we've always had a support for diversity and for the women's community. And that's exactly what the Center for Sexuality does. Um, and I'll just like couple things for me as a LGBTQ person. Um, they run a program called Camp Firefly, which is a summer camp for LGBTQ2S plus I youth. And several years ago, a couple of us from the D&D meetup group spent 2 days out there with the kids, and we brought dice and player handbooks, and we ran one shots, and we created characters, and it was a really fabulous experience to have with the
Nice.
youth. Yeah, of our community. It was super fun, and we had a couple members from the D&D meetup group donated um, a lot of money so we could take out all these fun things to give to the kids.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. And then my stepson went through the Wise Guys program, which is about teaching grade 9 uh, boys or young men some skills on how to have healthy relationships. And they also have a girls program that does the same thing. And they also offer counseling for a lot of different things, from gender identity to medical and social to transitioning. And they also, when people come in, they want pregnancy counseling. They include all of the pregnancy options, including abortion, adoption, and parenting. So they have a strong commitment to the women's community as well. And so this is a really great organization that's been around for at least 25 years. And then we'll just go down to the Veterans Food Bank. And Trevor, did you want to say anything about the Veterans Food Bank?
Well, this one, I think you've been supporting this one every year of the RPG Alliance Con, haven't you, Vicky? The,
Yeah, for sure.
since the start in what, 2018 was it?
Yeah, exactly. And you know where that came from is because we have several of our game runners that are veterans. Like for example, John, who ran D&D during his peacekeeping mission overseas for
All
all
right.
his colleagues in his company. So just some wonderful things that game runners who are happen to be veterans bring to our community. And I have to say that people like John, and we have a couple other people, friends in our online family that are also veterans that just, whenever we need help, they're always there. But it's just something about a veteran game runner that they never let us down.
Hmm. Yeah, that is true, and it's always great to support the food bank, of course. Uh, Unfortunate that, you know, I always think it's unfortunate that veterans especially have to resort to that. But I guess that's the reality of things, and with with knowing John, and he's been a core part of RPG Alliance Con since the start. So it's a great tie-in and a personal connection for you, Vicky.
Yeah, for sure. And then I have the other John, who is one of my players, who's a veteran from another country. Um, so yeah, it's funny how they're both named John, but they're spelled differently. Anyway, shout out to all the Johns in the world. We love you. And then finally, our SOS Ukraine.
Yeah, we wanted to tie in again another Ukraine charity. Um, it's been a horrible, um, what is it, 8 months now for the 3-day invasion. And it's just terrible what's going on. We did the fundraiser, Role Players for Ukraine, back in April, and it was a great success. Unfortunately, things just, you know, have been dragging on, and not to minimize any other um, needful charities out there, but we wanted to again tie in something in support of Ukraine, and this time Vicky has chosen one that's closer to home. It's a Calgary-based charity that supports refugees and medicine and food, clothing, baby needs, all those kinds of things that both soldiers and those affected need. So, we're hoping that not everybody is tapped out of supporting Ukraine because it's just horrible what um, continues to go on there. And we have a lot of Ukraine in the community, a lot of Ukrainian tie-ins, friends, family. Alberta, huge population or percentage of Alberta population has Ukraine roots. My family does on both sides of my parents, and it's not hard to meet somebody around here that knows somebody from or knows somebody who is Ukraine or has Ukraine heritage. So it's a bit of a personal tie-in there.
Yeah, exactly. And also just from my neighborhood, I've been meeting there's a couple of Ukrainian refugee families that have moved into the neighborhood, and I've been seeing them at the park when I'm walking my cat Debbie, and the kids just love my cat, and I can't even imagine what they've gone through, but now thankfully they're here in Canada, they're safe, and this particular charity SOS Ukraine does a lot to get them established here with the essentials of setting up a household and starting over, and getting some assistance in that way. And so it's it's a wonderful program to help these people make Calgary their new home. I'm really excited actually that unfortunately these people have to leave their country, but excited that these families are coming to a place where their kids are safe, can go to school safe, and are now part of our community. So I just love it. It's fantastic.
And
So
if people want more information on these charities and where their donations are going, where do they go? Are these links on this page?
yes, these are all linked up to the charities. So if you mouse over the yellow names, you can click onto it and it will take you to their charity page, and you can find out more information. And if you want to
Cool.
help further, especially like with something like SOS Ukraine, or the Veterans Charity, sorry, the Veterans Food Bank of Calgary, they're always looking for volunteers to help out. And the great thing is our con's in November, and it's after Remembrance Day, November 11th, which is a national holiday here in Canada to commemorate veterans of all the great wars and other military history, peacekeeping missions, and all the things that veterans have been involved in throughout the history of our country. So it's always a great time for us to support the Veterans Food Bank and honor again those who have served. Yeah, so yes, you can, all these things are linked up, so you just have to click on their name, and that will take you to their site so you can get more information. Now,
Cool.
I hope we haven't lost you guys, but we're going to take you into my mothership game that I did for role players for the Ukraine, and I'll just show you how I set up, and it's just a suggestion again, how I set up um, in my game as a game runner, how to set up the donations and how mechanically it kind of worked for me. And I think it worked pretty well. Trevor, you were a player in that game. I think you lived too.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
was one of the survivors.
I totally failed. I did not kill you.
You separated us all nicely, but I made it.
Hey,
I made it off on one of the ships, anyways,
yeah, yeah,
by
totally.
myself.
So you can see here, this is just our Roll20 game for Mothership Epsilon 14 for the role players in the Ukraine. And how I set it up essentially is that I made a handout, and I'll just show it to y'all. And the handout essentially just puts in um, the great recommendations that Trevor put out for that event. $5 to buy luck, $5 for a reroll, $10 to force the game runner to reroll. I thought those were quick and easy, and I was too lazy to come up with my own. So thank you, Trevor.
You're welcome. And again, people modified this as they saw fit. Some made them cheaper, so it was $3 or even $1 to buy luck or and $3 for a reroll, that sort of thing. And it's whatever works for the table.
Hmm.
But it's just the idea of getting people into that. Hey, I can, instead of just donating, $50 and then playing a game, you can you can still donate the $50, but turn it into something fun and force the GM to or the game runner to re-roll or if you're killed off, if your character's killed off, well, just donate $10 to resurrect them and continue on. Whatever makes it fun.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Because you were talking about in that one game how people it just started snowballing. How a guy bought an advantage for himself, but then paid it forward and bought an advantage for the next person. And it's like
Yeah,
going
it
through the Tim
was.
Hortons drive-through, buying a coffee for the next car that's coming up behind you, is paying it forward, and you guys had a blast with that.
Yeah, exactly, because it took one guy to say, I'm going to buy a reroll for everybody and bank
Yeah.
it so that they have it when they need it. Um, and that just set it off because then everybody has to, well, it's my turn to buy. And then they bought everybody a reroll. So it just really got into the spirit of it, made it fun. I think everybody, ended up donating what they had in mind to donate anyways,
Hmm.
but it just added to the fun of the game. It added a different dynamic.
Yeah, and just kind of doing that kind of team building too, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, so in the handout, if you scroll down, it has a little bit an information on how to donate. It links up to our Canada Helps fundraising page. It also asks that you click on the option to display your name and your donation on that fundraising page. That way we can kind of see who put in what. Um, and just a note that yes, we chose to do all Canadian based because we're based in Canada. So if you're not from Canada, you won't be getting a tax receipt if you donate and you're obviously in a different country like the United States. And just be aware that if you do donate as an American, you may be having some exchange rates and some fees that may apply. So just want you to be 100% aware of what's happening when you're donating. We really appreciate though your support for supporting our hometowns charities,
Very
and
much.
very much. And hopefully, you see that our choice of charities were very thoughtful and intentional when we chose them. And so the great thing about this as a handout that all the players can see, they can refer to it, they can minimize it, they can keep it, on their screen with Roll20 and pop it up when they need it, and just click on the link, and the link will open up into our fundraising page. And again, I'll just bring the fundraising page back up. It's canadahelps.org. Um, a little bit about who we are as the RPG Alliance. Again, it has our charities listed here as well, and you can click on them and get more information. And then you can do your donation, and then you'll appear on the supporter wall with your name and your $10. And you can actually put a nickname down too if you didn't
Yep.
want to put your real name out. So it can be as simple as your gamer tag or whatever you'd like. And
Or
you can
just your
also,
first name or your
yeah,
initials or whatever.
exactly. And you can go anonymous if you like. We had a couple of anonymous donors for role players at Ukraine, and really appreciated anybody and everyone's help. That's so nice, and we respect your privacy, of course. So that's how did I also do. Just to jump back into the Roll 20, I for myself, because I like doing stupid things on Roll 20, like making macros and playing around with decks. And so all I did was I created a deck with the heart icons here, and you just deal them out, and you can recall them back too. So as people are getting, so you'll see Trevor's character Bixby had two, and I can just recall them back once he uses them, and then say Trevor went ahead and paid for it and bought everybody a re-roll, then we can deal them out to all the players, and then everybody will get the cool little heart icons above their avatars. That's what I did.
Yeah,
Looks kind of
I
fun.
like it.
Got the little heart for the intention of just being kind and loving human being. And if you're a geek like me and you like playing with Roll20 stuff, it's easy to make it as a deck. So again, just an example. Don't have to do it that way. You can do it any way you like.
Yeah, it whatever works for your game, for your players, whatever makes your running your game easier, because we know how much work it is to run a game to begin with, so we don't want to complicate things.
Exactly. I think that's pretty much it. Anything else, Trevor?
No, other than to remind everyone, this is not an obligation. We sincerely hope that you choose to participate and just add this fun element to your game. We totally understand if you don't want to bring that kind of focus into your game, if or maybe it doesn't fit in well with the mechanics of whatever game you're playing. Because again, we had people, role players for Ukraine, that didn't do in-game charity donations, but that didn't stop them from contributing. So, whatever, like we keep saying, whatever works for you. It's not an, we don't want you to feel like it's an obligation, but we do hope that you take part and make it a bit fun for everybody and help us raise some money for some worthwhile causes.
Exactly. And just so you know, when you do submit a game, it's almost like I think the last question on the list of questionnaires on the submission form, where you can just say, yes, I will do a charity drive, or no, I won't, or maybe I'll think about it and get back to the organizers. So again, it's totally what you want to do. There's no pressure. It's just we like to do something different every year, and we usually just contribute to a charity, or if it's in person, we'll do a food collection or a clothing or personal hygiene collection if it was in from the cold, a family shelter. And this year we just thought, well, we were not doing Gather Town, so let's do something, a little bit more on the charity end because inflation is happening. We've got a war in Europe. Um, People are having tougher and tougher time meeting ends meet. Let's put our energy into just doing a much more thoughtful, structured kind of, or just putting a lot more of our energy and intention to, hey, let's have a gaming convention, but let's see if we can do a little good for the community too. And that's
Yep,
really it.
exactly. Well said.
Okay, that's enough for me and my rant. It's Monday night. Thank you, Trevor, for joining me on a Monday night.
You're welcome, Vicky. Glad to be of assistance as usual.
Great. And yeah, I guess that will be it. We'll be seeing you soon at this year's con. It's going to be a really fun hybrid uh, 2 days on Friday and Saturday, and an in-person event on Sunday here in Calgary. So all our friends around the world, we hope to see you there. It's going to be a great time, and
Yep.
we can't wait. I'm sure. Hey, Trevor.
And game submissions open this Saturday, October 1st. Ticket registration for players starts when? Halloween,
Halloween.
October 31st.
And the key thing here is it's always a race. Who will be the first one to submit a game? Will it be Keith or Chris? It's always a guessing game.
That's right. Yeah, we've got what, 4 days to open the gates and see who makes it out first.
Exactly. All right. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight, and I hope this has helped
Thank you, everyone.
answer any questions. And as always, if you have questions, hit Trevor up and I up on the Discord server in the help desk, or direct message us, or email us at rpgalliancecon@gmail.com if you have any questions and want to talk about it. We're here. We're working with this together.
Yep.
I'm making my hand move. It's together. All
It's like
right.
the 3D House of Horror. What was it? Dr.
Dr.
Tongue's
Tongues.
House of Horror with
All
the
right.
pancakes. That's the only one I remember.
And it was the best one too. Yay, SCTV. John Candy
Okay,
forever.
yeah, exactly. And oh geez, now the names are slipping.
Eugene
Oh,
Levy,
Gene
John
Levy
Candy,
and
Marty Short, Andrea Martin.
Count Floyd. Who was Count Floyd?
Oh, Count Floyd.
Oh, geez.
Oh, he was so good too. Oh my
I
God,
know.
why
How
can't I remember the
embarrassing.
actress name? Oh my God, it's so good. Catherine
Okay, we're
O'Hara.
rambling. Yeah, Bob and Doug
Oh,
McKenzie.
but yeah, exactly. Boy, I tell you, Dave Thomas.
Yeah,
Um, what the hell was the other
and Rick
guy?
Moranis,
Rick Moranis. Oh, I can't believe Joe.
the
Was it
Keymaster.
Joe? Was Count Floyd Joe something? Children
Jeez, now
of
it's
the
gonna bug
'80s
me.
and children of the '80s here, Trevor and I. Yes. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks, Vicky. I almost didn't remember your name.